Ricky Cross. Hi, my name is Anna, and I'm a singer.
Hi, my name is Peyton, and I'm a dancer.
And today, what are we doing today?
Today, we are back for a very exciting comeback reaction to one of our favorite Rookie groups, and we will be reacting to Weekly.
Yes, so Weekly is back with a new comeback today, and the song is called Ven Para. But as always, we have watched the teasers in advance, so we kind of know what to expect, and it's a very different style from what they've done so far. Anyways, that being said, let us go!
Space. Because everything is space.
The sun. There was the whole, prologue, film, intro, whatever. Planets.
Telling you, everything's space.
Aww. Yeah. Wow.
I'm so
yeah,
over the changing concept.
It's so different.
But I love it. Huh.
Oh, it's coming from both sides.
So cool.
Oh yeah, I like it when this line comes in, the background guitar. Is it guitar? It sounds kind of like harp too. Oh, what was that? Clap, stomp sounds. Oh.
What does that mean? Why don't we speak Latin?
Oh. Was that a meow sound?
There was a cat that jumped onto the planet.
Oh.
Yeah. So yes.
Yeah. She's so cool. But they have a lot of the Oh? What the heck?
Different universes?
Aww.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, that's cool.
But it's all
the laptop
at the end. Yeah.
Oh.
Because they go to the different doors.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to start off my comments by explaining why we kept being everything is space. Because I talked about this in a different reaction, so I won't go as in-depth here. But everything is space right now because South Korea is having a huge push in the space industry this year. They have 2 launches. And if you're a nerd like me and you keep up with South Korean politics, it's very interesting in my opinion to see how what's happening in their political sphere impacts their cultural sphere. And the fact that so many releases this year are focused on space and so many dramas and other just parts of pop culture are space focused is just very interesting to me. moving on to the actual dance, and I'll probably come back to that at some point. I'm going to make a bold statement about this concept. From a dance perspective, it's not that much of a leap conceptually. Like, I know that we're all used to seeing Weekly and their like kind of school theme, and it's a little bit sweeter and a little bit more innocent. But from a dance perspective, when I was watching it, I was like, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say it's a very natural trajectory. And I think that's just because their dances from debut have always gone so hard that, like, yes, there is a difference in choreography here to match the concept, like the specific moves they're making, because there are like more mature elements. There's a lot more going to the floor. They play with a little bit higher like technical things, like the multiple cannons or the differences in levels, things like that. But it's not, in my opinion, at least in the dance, whiplash. Like, I know the concept is a little bit whiplash from like Holiday Party and some of their earlier concepts, but the dance, there were parts of it where I was like, oh, I can kind of see similarities to the dance breaks in Holiday Party or things like that. While I don't think it's too much of whiplash, it definitely is a growth, and they are showing a higher level of maturity. This one is a lot more dominating. It's very much like, hey, like, look at me, like, pay attention to me. Like, I'm thinking of that move specifically in the chorus on the Vin Paraka, where they're literally like, da, 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 and they like lean forward and get in your face, and they're like, hello, are you paying attention to me? So it does have more of that feeling, and it's a lot sassier. While in the past they have played with levels, it's always been in more of like a playful sort of natural way, whereas this one, it's very much like grounded and heavier, and when they go to the floor, it's because they are dropping to the floor. And I think it's those sorts of elements, like, it's not even like a heaviness, it's like a punchiness to it that makes it feel sassier and a lot more dominating, which is why it feels so much more mature. Also, back to the space thing, since the sun and space by extension is so central to the concept, I was like primed to think about certain elements that are similar to that. And I think there's a lot of like orbital moments, which I do think also fits with the concept of this whole like, hey, pay attention to me, and sort of like, you know, things orbit like around the sun. It's the center of the universe. Like, I'm specifically thinking of the moments in the chorus when Jihan is in the center and they're doing the hand thing, and it sort of reminded me the way that they start it, because they don't all start at one time, of something orbiting around a central figure. Also, it's the way in a lot of their movements they're rotating around their own axis, because they're not staying straight in line. It's sort of like they're going out and around an axis within themselves. Also, again, a higher level of technique, so it does kick up the maturity level. But yeah, I just overall was having such a good time watching them do this concept that I know I didn't talk a lot during the reaction, but it's because most of the time I was just like, they're so cool. I don't really know how to end this, but honestly, I just loved it. Anna's turn.
Hello, it is time for my comments. And first thing that I'm going to say is the common general theme, in my opinion, for this song. It kind of sounds like a distorted voice, like singing from above, that you hear from the beginning. And it's not like constantly present, but it like repeats every phrase in that way that it's a theme. The oh pitches that you hear, and I think it really sets the tone for the song. It's very rounded, deeper, it's very like heavy and harsh sounding. One way you really feel that is like especially in the choruses. One thing that is present in the choruses that is not really present in the rest of the song is these horns. Horns are very heavy, but they're also more like a fanfare, so it's also this like explosion sort of shout out, which you get in other parts of the song, like especially a lot of times when like Monday is in the front and does like the kick forward, there'll be like an explosion sort of sound effect. And there are also other sound effects in this song as well, like the cat's meow, which I found really interesting, but it reminds me of past Weekly releases where even though this is a very different concept, there are still elements that you see a lot in Weekly songs, like their use of a lot of sound effects, but also in Weekly songs they have a lot of like shouts in the background. Like in their cuter concepts it would be like a hey all together, like a yell, but in this one they still have a lot of those yells. That section where I was like, oh, it's coming from this side, then this side, then this side, then this side, those are all things that they're saying in the background, so they still have that element. Just the overall concept and style for this song is very different. I know you said the dance was like a very natural progression for them, but musically this was like not. In concept, it was like not. But back to like instrumental elements of the song. It's very percussion heavy, bass heavy. You hear a lot of like what feels like stomps and claps in this. It felt very like anthem-y, sort of march forward, which you also get towards the end of the song, especially like after the bridge. Instead of going into a chorus, they have this sort of like chant section, which feels like marching towards something, and then it finally goes into a final chorus, like the same melody that they were singing earlier, but it's even like higher energy tension than it was before because it's leading towards the end of the song, which is why I was so surprised that they didn't end the song on just like an explosion. Instead, it's like bam, end the song, and then you still hear a little bit of like a fade out outro, and that's just like a fading out snare. Last thing that I wanted to say was the gentler sections, because this is such a harsh sounding song, stuck out even more. So like obviously the bridge, it comes in with a very gentle sounding guitar. They're singing sweetly instead of like more aggressively and piercing that they have been earlier, but also the one instrument that I kept talking about in the beginning. I couldn't decide in the moment if it was like a classical sounding guitar or if it was a harp. I think I'm gonna go with a harp because of the way it rings out. Those instruments are like more gentle, delicate, softer. It brings a nice contrast, and that sound is present from like the second half of the verses through the pre-chorus. Anyways, those are my comments. I don't know how to end it, but it's also my turn to TLDR. So TLDR for this reaction is, first of all, congratulations to Weekly on their new release, Venpada. I forgot to say, I looked up what it means, Venpada Aka, which means like get over here, come over here, like right away, aggressive, which was a very big switch in concept and style for Weekly, which we were excited to see. Kind of taken aback by at first, but we were still able to see similarities and a natural transition from the Weekly that we knew before. We're very excited to see this round of promotions and what they will bring in live stages. And lastly, best wishes to my girl June. Hope she is doing well, getting the rest that she needs.
But that being said, if you also were super excited to see Weekly in this concept and you want to talk about it more, talk about them, talk about space like the rest of South Korea, then come find us on our socials, which are linked in the cards. And as always, if you enjoyed this reaction video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and bye!